Okay, and we're back. So we're moving on to Heidensohn. Mixed up Carlin and Heidensohn. Then we're on to Heidensohn. I think it's Frances Heidensohn, who again is a feminist in the crime unit. So very similar to Carlin, we do sort of pair them up a little bit. We do them at the same time, and there are some similarities between the two theories. But I personally, I like Heidenson's theory a little bit more than Carlin's. Don't really know why. I think it's a bit more useful, perhaps. But there are some similarities. So, number one, they're both feminists. Okay, we have to remember that. Now, I'd say that Heidenson is a bit more obvious as a feminist than Carlin, because obviously Carlin brings in the class side of things as well. But whereas Heidenson solely focuses on gender. Now, Heidenson, like Carlin, also uses control theory. So the idea that women and men are rational in terms of their approach to crime. Now, she uses it in a sort of slightly different way. She says she uses control theory as the basis for her explanation of why women commit fewer crimes than men. Okay, so she's using it as a sort of way that women rationalize sort of their decision not to commit crime. Okay, they don't have sort of the chance to make that decision. Okay, but we'll get into that in a second. So she talks very much about society in general. She talks about how in a male-dominated patriarchal society, women are very much controlled. Okay, think about it. In every aspect of a woman's life, there is control sort of subjugated on her. So women in such societies are closely controlled in the home, where they are expected to spend the majority of their time doing housework and sort of looking after the children. And equally, in the workplace, for example, I mean, it's paid work, so women are controlled there as well in terms of their appearance, in terms of their hours, in terms of what they're expected to do. So that leaves very little chance for women to actually not be controlled to the extent where they can decide to commit a crime. And also, this is very important. Women who challenge these assumptions of what they should be doing risk male violence as an assertion of patriarchal authority. So, if a woman didn't do the housework, didn't do the childcare, didn't go to work, there is always the threat of male violence, which is a very sombering idea, but I think it's very real. Now, if you haven't already, do watch my video for the stratification unit on Wolby, because Wolby sort of uses this idea of women's control, well, how women are controlled, I should say, in patriarchal society. So you could actually almost combine these two theories quite effectively. But back to Heidenson. So men, as the main or sole breadwinner, also have financial power over their wives. Okay, men make the financial decisions in most households, traditional households, I should say. Equally, daughters are more controlled, sort of closely controlled, than sons. So if you think back to the education unit when we talked about McRobbie and the bedroom culture, so sort of girls are encouraged to stay in and invite friends over, have conversations in their bedrooms and what sort of read books and things like that. Whereas sons are allowed to sort of roam freely, be sort of boys will be boys idea. They might get into trouble, but that's just what boys do. That, I mean, Heidenson draws on that. Okay, the fact that girls are more controlled from the moment they're young, all the way up throughout their entire lives. So again, they don't have the opportunity to commit crime. So the next bit I'm not going to talk you through, okay, but they talk about how women are controlled in public, how they're controlled at work. They're definitely worth having notes on that, okay. But basically, women don't commit as much crime because they can't. They haven't got the time, the energy, the opportunity to actually do it. That's the theory, okay. That's Heidenson. So basically, this is the main criticism. Okay, so as I said at the very beginning, unlike Carlin, Heidenson doesn't do research. She hasn't got that sample. She hasn't done interviews or questionnaires or anything. She has just made a theory, not necessarily out of thin air, because she is a sociologist, but she hasn't done research-based evidence, sort of research, sorry, to basically sort of back up her claims. She hasn't done that. So that's a big criticism. Now, for those of you who aren't sure how to word this, okay, so you've got the idea that, the task of listing reasons why Heidensohn believes it's more difficult for women to break the law. You've got in the home, you've got daughters being controlled more than sons, you've got in public, and then you've got in work. Again, if you're not sure how to word it, then by all means copy mine down. And then you've got the work of Dobash and Dobash. Now, I mean, personally, I don't think that this is like the most important thing. It's not like a game changer in terms of if you revise it or not. And that's basically Heidensohn. So if anyone has any questions, then please do feel free to drop us an email. But hopefully that's cleared that one up. It's a fairly simple theory and is very useful, I think. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. I'll see you in the next video.